How's it going, class? Today I'll be going over our library and our resources, what I like to call like a library research orientation. As I've stated prior and what I wrote earlier, normally if you were in class, this would be provided in the library so you can get your feet in the library, know that that's your resource. I try to make it as approachable or easy as they do. Obviously, it's way more informative when they discuss it, okay? But I'm going to do my best to just get your feet wet. Maybe for some of you, you have already gone through a library research orientation. For some of you, you're very savvy with computer, probably more than me, and that's cool. Or these kind of like searchable databases. But what I want to do is I want to give you at least a little bit taste of the research component of our class. That is that our final assignment will be a research paper based on a theme of your choosing, and also a larger theme in the novel that we're reading, The People of Paper. So I liked it. It's one of my favorite novels, as I've said, and we're gonna go ahead and do two things. We're gonna end this final unit, or a few things actually. We're gonna look at the novel in a different way, and we're also gonna prove that we are critical researchers when creating this task. Okay. So as I started, what I want to look at is I know this is the Warrior Harvest or what's going on now. But this is the El Camino webpage, homepage, okay? So there's a couple ways we can access our library from the online database. Also, keep in mind, I understand all of you are taking an online course, obviously, but if you are on campus, the reference desk is an amazing resource. We have amazing, amazing librarians who are really big on helping students succeed. It's huge, and they love talking to students. So please make it a point to kind of go in there if you have a chance. If you can't get on the campus, that's cool. That's what the online component's about. Okay, so from the El Camino webpage, you can scroll down. And this is good to know, just all your student resources, because this is something that may interest you, right? Our bookstore, EB 540, student services, LGBTQIA resources, etc. But as you can see at the bottom of the El Camino webpage, we have the library. Click on that. Okay. Now what we have here is our El Camino library. We have a catalog, articles, and databases, and one search. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of what the databases look like, okay, we'll put no thanks there. I haven't tried the chat, but that might be a feature you can utilize, okay? Before we get into the catalog, articles, databases, one search, I also want to show you that we have this same resource under our Canvas tab, okay? So click on our homepage here. This is our class homepage. Right there on the left, ECC Library, okay? Takes you open in a new tab. Takes you right to that same page, okay? That's even easier. You don't have to mess around with the... I want you to know the El Camino College homepage, but like I said, this is a helpful way just to kind of get right to where you need to go, okay? So I imagine you'll be jumping back and forth. For our final research paper, you will have to have a minimum of 5 sources, okay? 5 research sources. In addition to, I'm sorry, the book will count as a source. It'll be 4 additional resources, okay? In addition to the novel, excuse me. Okay, so the novel will be a resource, but we need to have researched quite a bit before this, and you're going to have an assignment called an annotated bibliography, which will be posted soon, based off the sources you find in connection to your paper. And you also have an assignment based on just getting your feet wet with finding articles based on this, what we're doing today here, okay? So what I'd like to do now is you can play with this a little bit, right? Catalog is going to be more for books, right? Books will be definitely helpful for other courses. Books will be helpful in your future academic pursuits. For now, I want you to really focus on scholarly journals, okay? I also have provided a short video on CRAP, C-R-A-A-P, okay? I think I have a video up here. Let me just show you really quick. It's on evaluating sources, right? So we will be looking at how we evaluate sources, right, with the CRAAP. I know it's kind of funny, but that's what they call it, right? Kind of wading through the BS, I guess. That's another way to think about it, okay? But what we're going to do here is we're going to really focus on peer-reviewed scholarly journal articles, okay? Those aren't going to be the extent of what you find, but I think we're going to see why we evaluate sources in a certain way, okay? Helpful way to do this is either articles and databases where you have to be a little bit more specific, or say you want to just go to one search and find it that way. Okay, so you'll find books, articles, and most databases from a single search box. Books may be hard because, especially if you can't put your feet in the library, you may find a really kick-ass chapter, but hey, you don't have access. It's hard to access. Okay, and we'll look at that in just a minute. Articles and databases also may be the way to go. So play with this a little bit. Okay, so say for example, let's just do a topic. We could do random stuff, or we could make it. Let's just make it specific to this assignment. One of the options you will be having, and you've already seen the video on magical realism, is we can look into that, right? As you see here under browse databases by subject, you can just go to a subject and take it, and this is helpful for any class you take: education, business and law, arts and architecture, right? Why don't I just try English and literature, since I'm looking at a literature book, okay? Cool, so we got some databases, or we can look at Literature Resource Center. It gives you the best bet here. I really like Academic Search Complete. I feel that is kind of the most all-encompassing research that you can use for pretty much any research, right? If you want to really get into the literature, you can look at the criticism online, JSTOR. This will make more sense as we go along, and as I release the prompt to you. You will have a way to make this about the literature and the magical realism, metafiction, another thing we'll be discussing soon. Or you can make it about a larger theme, right? About masculinity again, about immigration. Okay, so this is kind of an open book, in a sense, to, no pun intended, to explore the novel, but to also explore larger themes, larger contemporary themes. Okay, let's try this. Academic Search Complete. Just gonna mess around with this, and I want to look at magical realism. Just see what pops up in literature, definition, etc. Okay, so bam, we got first one here: magical realism and its European essence. We have female identity and magical realism in Native American, African American women writing. Okay, we got Marquez, who's a prominent theorist in this field, right? Significance of magical realism in the novels of Aleki Amadi. Okay. Few things we can do here, right? You can also go to advanced search. You can put magical realism, but you know what? I want to narrow that a little bit. Let's make it Latin America. See what pops up. Magical realism, same article, European essence, and then we got one here: magical realism, social protests and anti-colonial sentiments in 100 Years of Solitude, an instance of historiographic metafiction. Okay. Like this one because this will be a lot of what we're talking about. Okay, as you'll see in the novel, there's a little bit of a protest, right? Magical realism and the history of the emotions in Latin America. Okay, let's just choose one just for fun. Okay, so we'll see here. You see that there is not a PDF full text under this one here. That one may be hard to acquire, right? So what I want to look for, and you can look at the source types here. What we're looking for, and if you want to even minimize it further, and we'll look at the CRR AAP model, CRAP model. Maybe just look for academic journals, because those are peer-reviewed, and those are arguably the most relevant and scholarly. Okay, now we got, this one hits all the buttons. We got PDF full text, we got academic journal, so I want to check that one out. Let's take a look at this one, right? So now what we want to do is we want to see the full text, right? This is more of an abstract. Okay, here's our text. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working from. You can download, you can print it, you can email it to yourself. Okay, I want to take a look at this side tab here. You can expand this if you'd like. Whoops, I'm not sure to expand it, but I want you to play with some of these. The site one is very key. You can email the articles to yourself. Okay, and what I want you to start thinking about while you're researching is what you're going to call, and I would write this down, you want to start a research log. Don't make the mistake that I've made in the past where you find a great article, great quote, great anything, and you have no idea where it's at, the title, who wrote it, etc. Okay, so this is where it's going to happen. One thing I want to highlight with these texts as well is you want to take a look at the abstract. Okay, I'm going to be realistic with you. You're probably not going to have the time to read 20, 50, 100 articles that are 30 pages. That's not the mission here. The mission is, how are you a critical researcher? How are you going to wade through articles with your specific topic? And we will talk about that more when I give you the prompt in that lesson, the run through. But I want you to think about that. right? Part of this class is not only how to research, but how to become a critical researcher. There's a number of topics out there, a number of articles, journal articles, etc. How do you, as a critical researcher, wade through the muck in a sense, right? And it's not the muck. I'm gonna say, well, how do you ensure one article is better suited for your argument as opposed to another one? Okay, and that'll be very beneficial. I'm gonna back click just a little bit. Okay, so we got a lot from that article. You know, I saw the abstract, I saw that, oh, here's the tools that I wanted to show you. You can email it, you can just print it if you love it so much, send it to your Google Drive. But we're going to check a couple things. I'm going to return to this, but citing is so important, okay, for this article, and I'm going to have a lesson on that as well. I haven't asked too much for citations for this research paper. I do need citations. You can play with things to the left here. You can add full text, and that's helpful too if you want to just not mess around with all the ones that are not giving you full text, okay? But you see here, you're a little limited here, so you got to play with the keywords, selecting optional, different options, etc. Okay, and I want you to think about that, right? Obviously English, okay, and maybe if you have too many terms up here, it'll be too specific. Okay, so maybe I would want to expand it, make that about just magical realism. See what we got there. Okay, so there's a couple ways to engage this, right? Like I said, click on the PDF full text and read the abstract. Okay, and this is a good way to wade through the materials. Okay, abstracts are going to be your best friend. This is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, if you find something that you think is really going to work for you, don't have time to read it, make sure to email it to yourself with this set tab on the right. Cite it. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to show you before this video ends. This is going to be a helpful key. Just a reminder for all our essays, and we should not be a question. All of our essays are in MLA. Okay, so you're going to click MLA, or not that, I'm sorry. This will be the actual site you want, but you want to be careful not to have that just copy paste it from here because it'll be a grayscale in the back. But this is the site, okay? This is the way you cite it, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to find a way to email it to yourself, okay? We can email that. Put your email from blah, and then what's really helpful here, let me just email it to myself, and then I'll show you how that looks at elcamino.edu. Subject, article, magical realism, like I said, create your log, right? I don't know, copy paste these to a Word document, whatever works for you, right? Send and play to, I want to go to citation format. This is key here, and I want to go to MLA, okay? Send that, okay? Email has been sent. Now let's go back to my email. Sorry if I'm jumping around a lot here, okay? Log in. Okay, it's not in there yet, but it should be soon. Anyways, I guess it's going to take a minute, but your email, should have done that before, I guess. Your email will be sent to your, the article will be sent to your email, and it will give you a correct citation, okay? What's important there is you have to understand that the citation is not always perfect, so it's on you to go ahead and double check that. There's a really awesome resource under the El Camino Library website on the El Camino on the library website page. You can go to MLA citing sources, and it shows you how to cite these. Okay, author, title, source, right? I can also, I believe this is in PDF. I can add that if that would be helpful. I think I will add that so you don't even have to click to the library to find this, but I will add this in one of our pages as well. Okay, that should conclude this video. Like I said, this was I wasn't too brief. I tried to make it as informative as possible. Hopefully, like I said, you're probably more tech savvy than I am. There's a number of ways to engage these articles, play with the articles. If you find an article that you really feel is key to your research and you really want to follow up on it, let me know. I'll try to see if I can acquire it for you, or try to reach out to the librarians, the resource desk, if they can acquire it for you as well. Okay. But this is, like I said, this is a great way to refine your research and become a critical researcher. Okay, that'll conclude our orientation. Like I said, if there's any questions, please let me know at any process in the writing or in the annotated bibliography or your research paper. Thank you.